What became the second national anthem for the British in our history, Land of Hope and Glory, is an example of attendance to an engineering of national solidarity, identity and so on, which national anthems are about. They are to seem to be, or serve the purpose of cementing a community forthrightly to get through something like a war, or generally to be effective as a community. And as you know, the title of this particular anthem shows, it's crucially focusing on hope and glorifying it, glorifying what we're hoping for, giving this incredible communal motivation. The national anthem for New Zealand is a hymn. But like the British, I vow to thee, my country, it's talking about motivation and community and solidarity and hope, you see. If you think of the first national anthem of the United Kingdom, which I think of in terms of Queen, of course, because she was so long on the throne during my lifetime, it's God Save the Queen, as this solidifying notion of God and almighty and all-powerful being behind the monarch, which is in some sense behind supposedly the welfare of us all. We might mock such from a sort of socialist, compassionate view of mankind, and feel that Land of Hope and Glory was built on, as it was, on the suffering of other nations, slaves and so forth. But it served incredible unifying purpose, which football teams echoed by using the anthem sung after, rugby and so on, sung after, I think it was rugby as well, after meetings and so forth. And you can follow just a few pages, so to speak, on Google of the history of Land of Hope and Glory, using Elgar's stirring piece of music and the stirring words that were put to it from the point of view of a nation and its people. And as I say, national anthems seem to do this, don't they? But so too, you see, we're in good practice, we're in solid practice, put it that way, with religion, with its hymns and songs that sing adoration of the perfect being who, in some sense, is on your personal side too, probably your nation's side, in the case of a national anthem that's religious, but hymns that are aimed at your building hope. And this is the field we have neglected increasingly in modern world, especially on a national scale, because it seemed to be close to encouraging war, and the way it was used was definitely to do so. We're the greatest and we have the right to rule, sort of thing, or we're the greatest and we're going to crush anything that stops us having our independence and our way of life, and we'll do it by force and war and so on. And so it's a hope that's had some extremely bad side effects you might feel from a peace-loving point of view. So nationalism, patriotism, national anthems have become we're a bit ambivalent about them because, of course, they've, if you like, been used wrongly. They haven't truly been used for the hope and benefit of mankind. And indeed, I would argue that they shouldn't be exclusively for that. They should be for all life. You know, we need a God of all life, not just a God of our nation that doesn't give a damn about the others. Or those others that don't have the same God, you know. I mean, it's an offensive path that we have gone down in the past, offensive to our values now. But our values now need strengthening by an appropriate attendance to how do we encourage, preserve and build hope, trust, faith in each other, glory, success, the motivation, the volition to do good and wonderful and lovely things. And such we call inspiration because it's, I suppose, our ideal and acceptable hope at present. We need inspirational understanding and ways of encouraging inspiration, that we are motivated in the right direction, by which I mean a direction that brings peace and harmony, cooperation and prosperity, fullness of life, life abundant, even notions of life eternal, that there is an eternal greatness in life itself, of which we are a very central part. We are the very personification of what life is in our grasp, albeit childlike, of the concept of such. Wow. Thank you, Lord. Thank you, Heavenly Dad. Thank you for this rather unusual inspiration, for me anyway. Land of hope and glory. Think of it for a moment without its bad connotations, but in its terms of good connotations, of an encouragement that contributes to holding a nation together, a people, a society, in some sort of university, in some sort of hope and great encouragement. You see, religion is all about, ideally, hope, and it became instead a fearful condemnation, and we put the whole thing to sleep and rest. We gave up on religion in large measure because of a failure to, well, quite honestly, have what we understood to be a good religion, something that was commensurate to our values of what life and happiness and the fullness of purpose is really about. You could say we need a far better religion, or you could say we need no religion at all, where religion means all the ritualistic and burdensome and incriminating side of things. We need a purity of hope that will give us, guide us and lead us to trust and faith, joy and peace, hope, gladness, life, fullness of life. That's where we need to have our amazing creativity at present. We need to put it to this. And in my tiny way, my recordings are purposed to spark or ignite such a change. Well, I'm not alone in it, of course. I mean, what we take to be every kind and loving person is by definition purpose to do the same. All of us have such inclination, and we need to, or rather we would greatly benefit from attending to such. And in fact, our future survival and living and civilization depends on the success in this field. Wow, didn't know that was coming either. Thank you, Heavenly Dad.